NACL. I am Rapid, and hopefully you guys enjoy my voice. If you don't, then hopefully it becomes that way, as I will be joined here by myself out onto the Rift for our second game of the night. It's going to be the Velocity Esports team organization, but with the Denial Esports roster being played out. What better way to start off with a pause? I think that Curse actually realized that Prius doesn't unpause the game, or doesn't stop playing music if there's a pause at the beginning, so they had to wait a little bit just so that we could have a nice little pause on air. So apparently Boy just got asterisked on and his chair broke simultaneously, so it's going to be somewhat difficult to deal with. So while our hearts and feelings go out to Boy in this time of need and difficulty, we'll hopefully be able to get him back in the game here in just a second. This is the reason that we don't show chat on air. I'll just throw that one out there. But to get into the game, we do see first item buys out for both teams, and unanimously across the board, it's warding totems. No scrying orbs or what is that? I forget what the lens item is that builds into oracles now, but either way, it's Season 4. If you guys are questioning, hey, what patch are we on? It's 3.14. It's the pie patch, and there's a lot of deliciousness coming your way tonight as we get out onto the Rift for our first game. And I gotta say, look at this start for Denial. They have 4 relic shields, and if you're looking for a smite, you'll find one on Yoda. But with all of those relic shields, expect them not only used for very good early game stats, but because if you're actually in lane, then you can actually... Okay, here's what happens. The effects from relic shields only proc every 30 seconds. And you do have a maximum of 2 charges, so you can leave your lane for a minute, come back into lane, and have it use its execute passive a couple times, or its spoils of war passive a couple times, give your laner a lot of health, a lot of gold, and then walk right back into the jungle. So it's kind of interesting to see the way that this works, and with a very innovative Season 4 start here for Denial, I don't know, this is going to be really, really interesting to watch. And pardon me for not having a whole lot of deep, in-depth analysis. Season 4 is new for us all, so if you guys have any other points of discussion, feel free to discuss that amongst yourselves. We'll take a look over and see what is going on there at the same time. Hopefully we're going to take a look at Curse and see what's going on there at the same time, as they're having some brief issues, but should be able to get them back in the game. If one thing is consistent, it's not a game of League of Legends without a few pauses. And here we go, we're back into the game, underway out onto the Rift, and for Denial, I like their choice to go for the very early start there with Relic Shields. This is very experimental, so keep in mind we're still kind of analyzing this and seeing how it works, which is why we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt with a very, very interesting start. Now, grouping up 4 men strong, just Peck and Wolf there in the mid lane to scout out Boy. It is going to be a deep invade, no early ward coverage at all for either team. If this is Season 3, then the really interesting thing to notice is that you'd see like double wards at the red side. If you're Coast or Curse, you'd go for 4 deep wards into the enemy jungle on both buffs. But for now, only 1 early ward placed out there, and it was, of course, the ward from Atomic, I believe. Yeah, so we actually did start out there with wards, and a Relic Shield goes back to base and heads out towards the bottom lane, and that should signal a duo lane down bottom, but at the same time, keep in mind we could be looking at a duo lane up top as well, as we do see relic shields on both Billy Boss and Yoda for, I guess I'm going to call them Velocity, because that is the organization they're playing under. An invade down here onto the red buff actually signals a little bit of trouble as Echo and Atomic will look to face check. Atomic walks straight into the brush, down below half HP, will drop the flay away, and there's the flash over the wall by both Cop and Atomic. A couple more auto attacks to take him out, 1 more to go down, last one under the turret, and it's first blood for Cop. Now keep in mind that only gave him about 280 gold, so it's not enough to completely snowball off of items, but it is a nice kill. It will make Atomic very late to lane, so for the time being, it will be a 1v3 down there in the bottom. Now you actually saw I Will Dominate smite away his red buff, or smite away the red buff that he stole. Now he's actually going to go deal with Raves, because if you look at Yoda, he actually took blue buff and is now looking for a counter jungle on the red buff, because of course he knows he was invaded. And that will actually put him a little bit ahead of Dominate as far as just overall buff control, but at the same time, Dominate, he grabs an extra camp away from Yoda, and we'll have to see how that works out as well. Now Zekent, the bottom lane very far forward. The ward in the brush will scout him out for now. It is a trinket ward, so you'll have to keep an eye on that. But a couple of other things to notice. Yoda has got 2 stacks of Spoils of War up, so actually should look to see him go back into that top lane and help out either for a gank or just wave pushing up there. Bottom lane, we're gonna see a lot of damage as Atomic very low. Glitter lands to come out. One more auto attack and its second kill of the game. Cop taking out Atomic. 2 kills before the 3-minute marker. Just there slightly thereafter. Duo lane up top, as we said, Yoda already just walked into lane, used those 2 stacks of Spoils of War, gave the extra gold to Billy Boss, and is now walking away. Something that occurs to me is that this could be a very effective strategy in 2v1 matchups, because you'd have to be there anyway to help your solo laner hold out 1v2, and then you could give him extra gold when you walk into lane there with that Relic Shield. So 48 gold gained by that Relic Shield, at least for Denial, and now Echo way down behind his turret. Turret shot, though, on a Cop. Could have possibly turned that around, but doesn't want to jump into a polymorph or anything crazy like that. Now, apparently, we do have my wonderful co-caster, Dan Egad Caruso, back in line with me. We'll be getting him back in here in no time, so don't worry, guys. You'll only be hearing half as much of me. We'll have to see if we can work that out before we get it totally underway. But as far as the early game's concerned, I've only been having to solo cast for 4 minutes, so I think the crisis has been averted. Hopefully it hasn't been all that difficult. For the top lane, you got Yoda coming right back. Once he has 2 stacks of Spoils of War, he's just heading right back up into the top lane. Does give you health and regen, and there's the lightning rush back to the turret for Quas. Yoda's just going to walk into lane, and immediately those 2 stacks proc themselves and give a ton of burst gold over there to Billy Boss. Keep in mind this is against a Quas who, though there is a CS advantage, it's only 4, is down about 50 to 100 gold so far, just off of that really interesting trinket strategy early on. Well, it's not trinkets, it's the Relic Shields coming out as well. Now, Yoda's going to take out the right, while as we will see, I Will Dominate back in base. He's just going for standard jungle itemizations, so really interesting to see what he's going to bring out here. And a couple of other things to notice as well. Mid lane matchup, we talked about it being rough for Voyboy early on, has actually been able to stay in lane, sustain things up. The only problem is that as Vladimir, you have some really rough decisions to make in Season 4. All the Spell Vamp items actually involve mana regeneration now, and especially with Will of the Ancients being really, really changed up. It'll be interesting to see if Voyboy still goes for that Spirit of the Spectral Wraith, or builds much more of a mid lane Vladimir and rushes Azania's Hourglass, which is kind of like what you'd expect. And I believe, if I am not mistaken, I am currently rejoined by my wonderful co-caster and excellent best Dan NA, Dan Egad Caruso.
Pretty sure there's better Dans out there, but do I sound good? Are we good?
You know what, you sound great. Mostly just because there's another voice involved, but also because things are actually working out, which is very fortunate, not only for you, but probably for all of our viewers as well.
Yeah, and what a time to be coming back in. It's going to be Zeke and support Lulu, which I love seeing, and then Thresh in the bot lane, always a fun thing to see. So I like the team comps already, and the teams I love even more, even though Denial's subbing for Best and yada yada. But Curse have a really strong lineup, and they're running that Lucian Lulu lane, so lose galore down there, and it already looks like it's having quite a good time against this Tristana Thresh with their nice little CS lead on Cop.
Coming up towards the top lane, Dominate walks over a ward, Undertow and Cocoon, just barely short of Dominate's body as he will back off into his own jungle, look for some counter jungle, but couldn't really find all that much. Hasn't gone for any new jungle items just yet, and while the Relic Shield isn't quite a jungle item, you can already see it giving a lot more gold over to both Yoda and Billy Boss. Bottom lane, we did see Relic Shields for both AD carry and support, so kind of synergizing those together. Kind of interesting to see it built on an AD carry. We'll have to see if it pays off for Echo.
Does it give you the effect on itself? Because if it does, then it'd be a total of 38 health that they're getting per whenever they both get a minion kill. So it seems like a pretty good combination to have for those GP10s, or GP10, yeah. It's going to be having when you upgrade it. There's going to be a Death Sentence thrown out there, but a dash away from Lucian will keep him safe. And it does grant you some security. You'll have the 50 health, you have the 6 health for 5. We do see a little bit of exchange going on. Zekent gonna throw out the Glitter Lance and the health picks, which actually recently got nerfed. The ratio on health picks was lowered to 0.4 from 0.6, so not too much you can look from that one. And already see the effect of the Relic Shields when Zekent did snipe off one of the CS, it gave him an extra 20 health there. So pretty interesting. But now we see Wolf picking up a blue buff, and Yoda's gonna hit 6, and soon we'll see a gank. And from what I noticed, actually, Lucian got the first blood and the second blood.
Exactly, yeah, both onto Atomic, and so Atomic having a really rough lane, but he's actually coming back into that with gold, as the Targon's Embrace now upgraded has given him 300 gold pillaged. Wow. Echo there with about 218 just from his unupgraded Relic Shield. Plays to come back out, and, you know, I want to see our first, like, well, I don't remember the new name, but it's Cage's Lucky Pick, because it actually gives you a lot of gold on Harass.
Yeah.
But could be something to look out here as Atomic definitely getting his fair share of harass down onto Cop, but not being all that effective as Cop does have a lot of sustain through his Vamp Scepter and Doran's Blade.
And I'm interested to see why there's no Oracle's Trinket coming in. It does help counterward a little bit. It helps control your brush just for that one use, though, and disables the vision that they'll have it, but they're all going to keep the warding totem. They're going to upgrade that later on and keep using that for the wards. I personally like playing offensive in lane. I like to just see a Death Sentence connect down bot. There's a Death Sentence. There's the flay backwards and the explosive shot. He just dashes back out. But I like seeing the Oracle's Trinket. It helps control your lane a little bit better. And if both of you pick it up, it's good. And you can just go 3 wards on your support or something like that. I've been fiddling around with this stuff quite a lot. Earlier on today, I was messing around like crazy with it, and I think Soraka's going to be OP as crap. But we'll discuss that later. As now, Echo and Atomic are shoving Cop quite back, and he is getting fairly low.
Yoda, Billy Boss there onto Quas as well, so definitely something to keep an eye on as Flash has been forced out by Quas after a little bit of an early dive through the turret, but he is level 7, does have that Slicing Maelstrom, so a lot of turnaround potential there as Billy Boss and Yoda really loving this double the Targon's Embrace strategy out of top lane. There's one on the Billy Boss as well, so he's going to be continuing to push up there in the top lane. In case you guys are unfamiliar with what on earth Targon's Embrace does, gives you health regen, and then it executes a low health minion to give your an ally extra health and gold. And of course, if there's 2 of them in lane, well, of course, it's going to be split there just a little bit as well. So a couple of things to keep an eye on is that's a mechanic both in top lane and bottom. And you've actually seen a lot less jungling from Yoda, just so he can continue to make trips up to the top lane to refresh both his and Billy Boss's extra gold.
Yeah, if they both just keep getting each other 10 gold off Miss CS, like if they're just pushing it down, shoving it down, it's with the undertows and the burnout, it's really good for them. But you just see everybody making their rounds. No ganks coming out just yet. The junglers farming up a storm down there as we already see Dominate with 59 CS. We see Yoda with 41 as he's been helping out Billy Boss, like you said before. And this Targon's Embrace is just going to be stacking up like crazy for the gold that they net each other. We do see the makings of a Blade of the Rune King for Echo, as well as a Bloodthirster for Cop, so variation in the builds just a little bit. While Dominate will walk by a ward in that Dragon Pit, and is he actually trying to solo this Dragon right now? It is warded, and he actually does notice, and he is going to back off.
Yeah, that's the problem. Unless you have a pink ward at Dragon, it's going to be warded, and there's no potential of an Oracle's to be able to keep that safe. And even if you do have it pinked, if you don't have the positional advantage on Dragon, you're just going to lose the pink ward, and that's 100 gold down the tube. So Dominate returns back to the Dragon. Dragon on Dragon action. Doesn't have the damage that he needs to take this one down. It's actually doing pretty well, and there with Zekit and Cop coming in to help him out. It will be the first Dragon of the game, warded but uncontested. Curse off to 2 kills, an early Dragon, but still just even in gold thanks to the incredible early game presence that the Targon's Embraces give denial. You can just see they've lost 2 kills, a global objective, and they're still ahead in gold.
Yeah, and a really smart move from Yoda to just go up top and push that turret down, but now an even smarter move from Dominate to go down to bot lane. He's going to get flayed backward, Death Sentence towards the turret. He's got the Dragon's Descent. He will go through the wall, gets slowed out there a little bit. Ignite gets dropped onto Zeke, and there was the explosive shot on Dominate. And that turret getting very low. We're going to see that counter push coming in to effect very soon. We do have Void roaming down towards bot lane. We're seeing Echo sustain a little bit off of the goals, but actually Void will stop his back. And this turret is going to go down in a few hits. We see the Targon's Embrace coming in to effect right there as Atomic is going to last hit. There's the Ziggs ultimate coming in from the middle of the lane. Death Sentence is not going to connect the dash from Cop. Will get himself out of there. And now we're seeing the White Wraith being the target for Dominate, and he will just snag that one up, heal up a little bit, and go back on his merry way of jungling.
Yeah, something to notice about the jungle is that you check out the CS, there's about a 10 CS advantage for Dominate. So he's been farming absolutely incredibly well. He hasn't picked up an extra jungle item though, or a completed jungle item just yet. Should be going once again for the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, as that is still incredibly cost effective. We'll go back to base and pick that one up. The way the conservation passive works on Spirit of the Ancient Golem is that you build it up over time, and then you actually get gold from it after it's banked up that gold when you kill a large monster. So should be seeing that come out from him on his first, or I think it's his 3rd trip back to base, grabbing that away. There's a dragon under his belt as well, so controlling the map very well. That's also another objective that will give him those conservation stacks. He decides to go for more of objective control. Now, Dominate coming in from the side onto Yoda. Has Quas there from behind, but I don't think that Curse are going to be too willing to fight Denial just yet.
No, and they're keeping ahead in the gold despite that dragon. You know, we saw them take the turn earlier on, and still that two-man push is coming on up top. Billy Boss and Yoda just using the Torgens Embraces very well. We see Voyboy right now getting poked out a little bit. Mines get dropped out. They're bouncing bombs. Keep on connecting. Peking Wolf on point with those right now. He's going to throw out the little laugh there. Bouncing bombs going to connect to the Voyboy, who's trying to disengage there. He's going to be spotted out by Peking Wolf's ward from the totem. We see Billy Boss now exchanging with Dominate, forcing him out of his own jungle. It's about half HP, but down bot, we're going to see the Buster Shot used to disengage Zekit and Kop from the turret, but Atomic going to eat a ton of damage after taking Whimsy, and that turret is just a passive from Lucian away from being taken out. So now we're going to see Zekit and Kop abuse that advantage as well as the low HP of Atomic, while in mid, Billy Boss rotating from top. He's got a big wave building up there, but now Quas responding, potentially coming in. We're going to see a Ghost forced out of Billy Boss. He will run away, disengage, and look to make his merry way back up to the top lane to keep on farming it out. But they stopped the push in mid from the side of Curse, so good job to them. And still that Olaf is going to be a bit of a problem, and Yoda now making his way down bot is going to be looking to do a three-man push down there, but Dominate finishes off the blue to give the Voyboy, and will make that potentially a 3v3 after that White Wraith.
And for all that Curse are doing, kills, objectives, CS advantages. Oh my goodness, there in the bottom lane is going to be a box right there onto Zekit. Slows him down, but Dominate's coming in right in from behind. Dives at very low HP into 3 members of Velocity, or I guess I'm just going to call them Denial, but they are playing under the Velocity roster. Echo turns the damage right back around on him and uses the Bilgewater Cutlass active to make his way out of there. But yeah, like I was saying, so many advantages going to Curse, but just the gold per 10 and the consistent use of that Targon's Embrace, or Targon's Brace, just really, really effective at keeping Denial here into the game. Now, Billy Boss coming up from his jungle just to clear out some waves up top. Won't be able to use that Targon's without somebody else in lane with him. Will be able to undertow the wave quite successfully. Lands an axe there onto Quas. We'll have to watch out. Misses the next one. Keeps the top turret alive. But keep in mind, 2 turrets now for Denial. Why don't you explain how turret goals work here in Season 4, Dan?
It kind of scales. No, it doesn't scale. It actually made inner turrets worth a lot more gold than the outer turrets, so you're not going to be getting as much. But the global gold is also nerfed as well, so it gives a priority to the person who last hits the turret, and then kind of divvies that up to everybody around the map and around the turret. It'll prioritize more gold towards them. But the changes, I kind of like them. It forces a lot more team play, and it also forces the last hitting of the turret. So if you do end up missing that, it's a lot of gold you could miss out on, potentially. We do see Echo now grabbing red buff. We see Dominate with his own coming into this mid lane right now. Burnout is popped, but the satchel charge will get Pekin Wolf out of there. And he'll just throw a little balloon into their face and keep on his merry way of using that blue buff.
And so for now, there's nothing really too aggressive happening, and that's exactly the way that Denial want to play this. Because they have the gold per 10 on their side, they have Targon's Embraces and Relic Shields just across the board, and they're getting more gold for what they're doing. Yes, then is there on a Dominate, flay back into the turret, but it's only one
Pekin Wolf is actually getting dove right now.
Oh my goodness, in the mid lane, Voyboy going deep behind enemy lines, actually does have his Will of the Ancients, so using that sustain to stay in lane, walks through both turrets, and is now proxy farming mid lane. Not something you see every day, Dan.
No, not something you see at all, but down bot, the tier 1 did go down after a nice stab from Voyboy, taking out Pekin Wolf from the picture. There's going to be a tier 1 in the mid lane, most likely going down, but up top, Billy Boss and Yoda going big on that Elise Olaf push right now, forcing Quas back. They're going to drop a ward to the totem. And now we're going to see the Maelstrom come out as Billy Boss is tanking the turret for Yoda. The Ignite is ticking away. He's going to flash away. It's going to be the W coming in from Quas right now to pick up the kill. Billy Boss is getting chased down. It's going to be very scary for him. Can he actually pick up Quas? No, he cannot, and that's going to be a 2v1 from Quas after a very aggressive tower play from the side of Denial. And in the mid lane, Voyboy finally gets to take down that turret with Dragon now spawning up. We will see Dominate look to make a play with the side of Curse, and this Dragon is most likely going to go over to them as well as a nice gold lead.
I can confirm, Egad, that is in fact the boy up in the top lane, but or in the mid lane making plays. Top lane is Quas, so just action across the map, mid lane and top lane. That's what I really wanted to focus on here for Curse, because while Kop is very consistent, the boy mid making the plays, diving, getting a kill for himself on a Pekin Wolf in a 1v1. In a 1v2, Quas is like, anything you can do, I can do better. Picks up the 2v1 kill underneath the turret. And it's nice to see Curse out to a 5-0 advantage in kills. No matter how much gold per 10 you have, you start giving away those kills, it's going to turn the gold right back around with the turret taken down, and 3 members there to get the experience from it. They're all going to get the gold from it as well as, yeah, turrets you have to be there for the gold, or at least for most of the gold. So a lot of that is split away. So for Denial, they're actually starting to find some weaknesses in their lanes, but keep in mind, that's only because they're diving second-tier turrets to the 1 against Kennen. That's because they're giving up a lot of dragons without contesting them. And so Curse, even though it's an interesting strategy to run up against in all of the Targons and Braces, but it is something they're dealing with very well, just not really doing anything too innovative, just winning their lanes, having objective control, and playing just incredibly solidly.
Yeah, and Voidboy's build, since they changed Spirit of the Spectral Wraith to more benefit the jungle, you're gonna see him building Will of the Ancients as a substitute for that, as well as now a Spirit of the Visage. So gonna be looking for that one next, as he needs the MR against the Pekin Wolf's very, very annoying Zigzag, as well as some elite damage coming in there. But the push now, it's kind of get to an awkward point where they need to push tier 2s, but they don't really want to group up yet. That Olaf still push is very strong. He's got Tiamat for that one, and with no dragon spawning anytime soon, it's just going to be a lot of solo pushing, a lot of split pushing, and maybe some groups. We're seeing Billy Boss now trying to steal away a Wraith there. It's going to be a smite from Dominate. He'll get that one. And you can't steal away from the jungler when their smite's up. We do see some pings onto Elise. There's that little brush controlled over there by the blue buff and towards the entrance of the wolves. Now, a big point for a fight here could be on this blue buff. Everybody is grouped up. There's 5 members from the side of Denial, while Curse has 4. We see an Undertow connected to 3, and that pink ward is controlling that brush very well. We see him pop the Ghost right now. He's going to pop the ultimate. He's going to go in. There's a nice heal playing on a 3 members. That said, it's connected to Zeke, but it doesn't matter. This Zig's ultimate does not find any targets. Atomic is forced to flash over the wall. Echo is going to jump out of there. Voidboy, can he get the kill? He can. He'll be able to sustain through that one. A quadra kill for Voidboy. He's chasing on a Pekin Wolf. Can he get the pentakill? Dominate's trying to give that one to him, as now Voidboy is going to fight. It looks like it's going to be a pentakill. He whips him. Pekin Wolf is going to get taken out. It's going to be a pentakill for Voidboy on that Vladimir and put it to a 10-0 lead. The boy is real. He has got the 5 kills. Well played comes out from Echo, and that is going to be a pentakill in the NACL.
Voidboy taking down the entire team, not single-handedly, but able to grab every single one of those kills in that team fight. And that just goes to show that not only was there so much focus around controlling that blue buff, but Curse just played it absolutely perfectly. They said, hey, you're going to overcommit for this buff. We're 4v5, but we have so much area of effect damage that it's really going to be on you to not, or on Denial rather, to not overextend, not overengage, and that's exactly what they did. You even saw at the end, Pekin Wolf was running for his life, not there able to help out the rest of Curse, or the rest of Denial, as Curse really scattered them. You saw a huge Hemo Plague, I guess it's a Hemo Play as well, as Voidboy hit that onto, I think, at least 3 people, and then was able to use that damage amp to just pick up 1 kill right after another. Grabs a blue buff after all of that. The blue buff still not taken down. Will be Voidboy with 5 kills, 6 kills total, as well as the blue buff just absolutely crushing down this game, 6-0-0.
Yeah, oh man, I wish we could get a replay of that last fight. That Hemo Plague, I think, hit 3 to 4 members from Denial over there in that fight. And then we saw Pekin Wolf just satchel charge out and some very, very nice positioning from Voidboy. That Will of the Ancients paid off dividends there. He sustained through most of that, especially with Echo laying into him for a duration of that with that Blade of the Rune King. And then now he's got Spirit Visage, he's got the Nizzy Large Rod, so he's looking for maybe a Zonia's, maybe a Death Cap if he wants to play a little bit more on the edge. We do see a lot of the mid-game items coming in. The Zonia's Hourglass has been completed for Quas for a while. He's got another Nizzy Large Rod, so could go for a DFG, could go for the Cap. I think it's going to be the Cap, though. And Cop, he's been farming down bot very happily. He's got the T-Force and the Bloodthirster. Kukak's on a Voidboy right now. Red buff is going to slow him out. He's going to drop the Hemo Blade and turn around. The Flame doesn't connect, but the box does. He's going to get the Giant Growth onto Voidboy right now, and he will just back on out. That forced a lot out of them. We do see the shields from the Torgan come out, but now Dominate going all over the place. The Satchel Charge and the Buster Shot, but Quas down that lightning all over the place. There is the Astral, the Ardent Blaze coming from Cop, while now Voidboy is diving. We do see the Death Sentence connect, but it is not Voidboy taking the turret. Dominate was taking that one. Double kill for Quas. That is going to be a 4 for none. Voidboy is godlike 7-0. They're going to head to Baron and try to make the play here, but Billy Boss get up with something to say about that. His Ghost is almost up. His ultimate is up. His Ignite is up. So we'll see if he can snipe off a kill or 2 here, as Baron is going to do some damage, and Zekin is tanking it right now. They're getting fairly low. Voidboy is sustaining. Cop is sustaining. Undertow comes out, not going to connect. And what is he going to do right now? He pops the ultimate, going to go on to Zekin. Can he pick up the kill, though, is the question. Can he get the Baron, is the question. It looks like no, he will get blown up, and Dominate will be able to smite the Baron. He will take it out. And now Curse, they finally get their first death, and Zekin will be the first one to take the shot for the team, as it is now 1-15 and a Baron up curse against this Denial/Velocity roster.
Billy finds a kill, but also finds the Baron buff going over to Team Curse. And while Zekken will unfortunately not have one of those, what Curse do have are a 7-0-3 Boy, who is just absolutely ridiculous right now. Picks up an Elixir of Brilliance as well, on top of a Will of the Ancient Spirit Visage and a Rabadon's Death Cap. So no Zhonya's Hourglass for him. He's very, very tanky, and I like the itemization of the Spirit Visage because he knows he's going to be going up against a lot of overall magic damage. About the only attack damage he's going to face is, there's going to be some from Tristana, but at 0-2-0, not a lot to worry about. And then, of course, it's a lot of true damage mixed in with attack damage for Billy Boss, and the rest, of course, magic for Denial. And when you're 7-0-3, building offensively is a great way to help the rest of your team get ahead, especially with the way that Hemoplague works for Boy. And now one dragon right after another, all falling for Curse. They're going to drag another one of those out there and bring themselves up to a 10,000 gold lead.
Is your Baron buff bugged too? It seems like double Baron buffs on everybody.
I sometimes, for every time one Baron buff isn't enough, you just gotta have to stack on the second one.
You know, to get the extra stats. Why not? But we're gonna see.
Season 4 changes include not only a well, they didn't actually make the change to Baron yet, but
no, not yet.
Maybe this is a secret Baron change. Double Barons, WTF? Yeah. 2 Barons? I don't know. They're both on there, even though there is only one buff. And keep in mind, it's not the new Baron buff, so there's no extra siege potential and move speed. It's the same old Baron buff we know and love. It gives you extra regen and stats.
So, using that one will be Cursed to push down these lanes and eat the poke. We see Seeking and Voidboy on the side. This Dragon's Descent in, connects on a Peek and Wolf there. He's gonna satchel charge out. The culling gets gets canceled by a Cocoon that connects. We're gonna see the tier 2 go down in the mid lane. Billy Boss is still pushing up top. Doesn't have teleport, so we'll be just doing that one while the big bomb does come in the mid lane. We're gonna see Yoda get tagged up, as well as 2 other members from Denial by that Hemoplague. Is gonna repel up. It's not gonna stop the damage though. He will pop in the sky, just in case you didn't know, as now the inhibitor turret falls. We're gonna see the inhibitor go down. Echo is trying to kite this one out. He's got the barrier, he's got the shield from the Torgan, and now the inhibitor is gonna go down, so that wave slash lane is gonna push a lot harder. We're gonna see Superman spawning there in the next wave. And potentially the game could end here. 3 members from Denial coming down. The heal from Ezekiel going to sustain them back up a little bit harder if Baron wasn't already doing enough. We're going to see Death Sentence not connect to Satchel Charge. It's going to move them away. He's going to pull out of this one. Boyboy's still alive right now. Echo going to get charged in on by Kwas. He's going to be able to take him out with one more auto attack, but he does not. And
Ardent
Nexus
Blaze
is going to fall. And that is going to be game for Curse after a very impressive showing, especially from Boyboy's mid Vladimir.